Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to New England's Active Wellness Tour. I want to thank you all for taking time to join us for this special event. This may be your first introduction. You may already be a customer and looking for more information, or you may be a consultant, and really tonight is geared for everyone. My name is Suzanne Steele, and I'm from New Hampshire, and my co-host and friend is Barbara Joseph from Maine. Hey, Barbara.
Yep. Hi. Thanks, Suzanne.
We have joined you, we've invited you to join us this evening, really at a time when our country and the world is in a state of flux. There are many people concerned about their jobs, their families, and what the future holds. And we believe that we are connected with a company whose mission and vision is what this world needs. And so instead of the usual PowerPoint presentation, we thought this deserved a different format, a conversation. So we're going to share some thoughts and experiences with you in the hopes that it lights a flame inside your heart and soul to either act upon it yourself or at least share it with others you know and care about. And so now I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, Michael DiMuccio from Toronto, Canada, who is my mentor, friend, and colleague. He is a dad of 3 beautiful teenagers, a musician, a Reiki practitioner, an aerospace engineer, and an entrepreneur for the last 25 years. So welcome, Michael, and how were you introduced to Nikken, and what fuels this enthusiasm you've had 25 years later?
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for having me on your presentation this evening. This is the tip of the spear, as I say, for the New England area, getting Nikken on the map. My introduction was 25 years ago, actually, about a month and a half ago, December of 1991. I was at the tail end of a lot of issues in my life. I'd been educated as an aerospace engineer, ended up in the music business, writing and producing and recording original music. That fell apart when the record label fell apart, and I found myself very disillusioned, not sure of what to do. Ended up working for a friend of mine, what was supposed to be just a few months helping him out. He was an electrician, starting his own electrical contracting company. Ended up becoming a 2.5-year, almost 3-year career. I was his right-hand man. I was operating 3 crews. My work schedule consisted of 14-hour days, 6 days a week. I had no life. It was very physically taxing. And then one day, we were hit from behind in the van, and I was in the passenger seat, and that began a whole new journey for me of physiotherapy, chiropractic care, and massage therapy every other day as a result of a low lumbar strain, a whiplash of the lower back. So about 18 months into that, I received a phone call from a friend who was also an entrepreneur, but he wasn't a doctor of any kind. And he invited me to his living room to come and check out something that he had discovered that was originating from Japan. So I went over. I had nothing better to do. It was a cold December night, I remember. And in that living room, he began to show me what he had learned, which was namely the Nikken technology and a video. And the combination of the two, I began to understand what it was that I was doing in that living room. I was a little bit hesitant, but I couldn't help notice within about 15 minutes my back wasn't hurting. And so then my engineering mind kicked in. I started to ask a lot of questions about the nature of this technology. He was not that familiar, but my background gave me enough insight to know there was something special going on. That video introduced me to the bigger picture of this company that was pioneering the introduction of this technology to North America. And I just knew there was something different about this. So within 48 hours, I had taken some information home. I'd been on a few conference calls, and I had given the same product to my dad to try, who had been suffering terribly from his sciatica, limping around the house. And long story short, within 48 hours, he had no more discomfort, no limp, full range of motion. So that was 2 for 2 for me. And I had learned enough about Nikken to know that it was really a force to be reckoned with, that this company was really a company on the move with a very strong mandate and mission, and I fell in love with it. I knew that I was going to be involved. I just never in a million years would have told you it'd be a career for me. Here I am 25 years later. I've traveled the world. I continue to do so. And the second part of your question is, why am I so excited about it? I haven't met a lot of people who, after 25 years of doing anything, are as excited as I am. When I just got back from Salt Lake City, I'm in Vancouver right now, White Rock, BC, actually, because we're doing an event tonight before I fly back to Toronto. And I heard some of the most incredible testimonials, and it's a day in the life of a Nikken consultant. You hear stories that are so incredible. It's a constant reminder of how important this work is. So when you see the lives that you're changing, and you see it so often on a daily basis, that's what keeps it fresh. It's what keeps the fire in the belly, is because it's just something that matters. It's making a difference on a daily basis. And so the business of Nikken, which we're going to talk a little bit about, is just a natural consequence of that excitement, that you want to share this information with others, and you want to explore, the possibility of your influence reaching out beyond the confines of maybe your living room or your town. And now I enjoy business that's in over 22 countries.
Beautiful. I just want to show, is this the product, Mike? The mic with the back?
Yeah, that's the new version. That's the most advanced version. The one that was the original version had only one technology in it, which was magnetic. That one has 3 technologies built in: magnetic, far infrared, and negative ions, which are what we refer to as tri-phase technology. So the technologies come light years ahead, but even then it was already light years ahead of what the Western Hemisphere was offering as a solution for my problem.
Awesome. Wonderful.
That is great. And what's amazing is that product is why I'm here tonight too. That one product seemed to have changed so many people's lives.
We talk about this as a category, active wellness. This is our new branding. This is our new concept for the world to embrace. And that's why I'm on tour. That's why you guys are doing this launch and many others. By the way, if you want to plug into what's going on, go to the Facebook page, look for Active Wellness Tour, and you're going to see a plethora of events that are taking place literally across the globe to introduce this concept of active wellness. So maybe you can address what active wellness means to you.
Well, for me, it means being able to do the things that I used to be able to do. And for a while there, I couldn't do, and I wanted to get back to be able to doing those things. And I want to do them as I age. I don't want to get older and not being able to enjoy my life to the fullest. For me, my story is I broke my neck 23 years ago and had a halo for 3 months and hurt all the time. And I wasn't able to be active. And then my friend shared the products with me. He thought I was open, and I was, because I wanted to live again. And these products delivered that first night for me. And my criteria were that they needed to be safe and effective. And if those 2 things can help someone stay healthy and active, it was a no-brainer for me to get involved and not only help myself, but be able to help my family and my friends, and it's grown from there.
I want to add, just before Barb, you jump in, is you said safe and effective, but from a business point of view, I would add demonstratable. Our products are very demonstratable. I mean, literally within a matter of seconds, I can have anybody's attention. And when you've got something like that, that's a whole other kettle of fish when you're thinking about this as a business possibility. To be able to show somebody very, very quick results is extremely impactful, which, in my opinion, takes the salesmanship-y aspect of this completely off the table. Now it's really a question of, can you learn how to do a demonstration? And of course, everybody can learn how to do that. So I love that part of it. Barb, what's your take on active wellness?
Well, I have to also reiterate what Sue said is, maturing woman, I want to stay healthy. I want to stay active. And for me, I've always been that way. Yet I had a series of occurrences in my life. And the first one was a bicycle injury. And I had limited range of motion and was actually disabled in my right arm. And my background is in energy healing as a practitioner. So I tried just about everything. And I did have temporary results, but nothing ever resolved it. And then just like you both mentioned, I was introduced to a product, and mine is called a Mag Duo. And again, this is the updated version with triphase technology. And someone just showed me to, lightly and gently roll it on my arm. And I tell you, within 3 to 4 minutes, I felt relief and comfort, and I had range of motion. And I was totally amazed. So I continued to use that and just added a bracelet. And I don't have that chronic pain and disability. So for me, it was always wanting to make a difference in the world with my private practice. But isn't it wonderful that I can have products and technologies that people can have 24/7 so that they can have solutions that give them an advantage in every single aspect of their life. And it's just so rewarding to enrich lives and make a difference in the world.
I asked our CEO what his definition of active wellness was, since this is kind of his brainchild. And he said to me, you know how when you walk into a building, there's an elevator, and then right next to the elevator, there's a set of stairs. He says, I take the stairs. Do you know why? Because I can. Yeah. So think of all the things, and I know there's a number of people on this call who are able to do things today, some days later, some weeks later, some months later, even some years later, that you probably were not able to do or couldn't have conceived of continuing to be able to do had it not been for the advantage of these technologies. And there's a whole range of technologies, for those of you who are new, just listening in for the first time, that are high tech, yet at the same time totally natural as the earth itself. I mean, it's just simply the company's concept is to replicate what makes life possible and sustainable on earth in a very organic and natural way, to replicate the earth's natural environment within our bodies and within our surroundings, so that the body can do what it absolutely is designed to do, heal itself.
My healing arts background, that's what attracted me initially to Nikken, because it was a perfect fit. And then when I heard the philosophy of the company with the balance in health and body, mind, family, community, and finances, it just took me over the top. So.
I love the word that I've seen used often again is the trajectory, the idea that we are all on a trajectory in life. And if you consider health, your personal health, the trajectory of your health, most people are on a trajectory that's taking them down through this aging process, where they're losing quality of life as they age, as you mentioned earlier. We want to help people turn that into an upward trajectory where you gain quality of life. And it really doesn't take much. It's astounding, but it works on a principle called compounding, which we can sort of talk about our business as well. The idea that little things that you can do every day that when duplicated compound over time to a big result, a monumental result. Like right behind me is a Nikken sleep system. I'm staying at a bed and breakfast, and every room in this place is a Nikken wellness room. And so I've got the air wellness unit. I've got the light right in front of me. And I've got, which is natural lighting. I've got the sleep system. I've got the PyMag water, which is what I'm drinking. I mean, my body is getting everything my body needs in order to be healthy. It's what my body was designed, the environment and the conditions for my body to be healthy. So the trajectory that we're on when we integrate these products into our life is one that resoundingly helps improve the quality of our well-being. So that's what active wellness is about. It's about doing little things on a daily basis without really giving much thought to it, but those things that you're doing compound with time into a big result. And that, by the way, kind of transitions, if I may, into what we want to talk about a little bit as well, this concept of the gig economy. Now, I didn't hear this word about a gig economy until recently, actually. I was interviewing a person who's in the telecommunications business, and she's one of the largest suppliers of telecommunication cell phones here in the Canadian market for one of the larger providers. And she was describing the nature of of her employees and the relationships and so forth, and mentioned that these guys, these particularly millennials, are really into this gig economy. I said, gig economy, what do you mean by that? And so I learned a whole bunch about the gig economy and why this is so ideally suited. How many of you have heard of Uber? Okay. How about Airbnb? Yeah? All right. So here's Uber, the largest taxi company in the world, and yet they don't own a single taxi. They don't even own a car. Here's Airbnb, the largest provider of accommodations in the world, and they don't have a single hotel. So this is this new economy that's emerging, that's changing the way we do business. And within that, people are developing ways to employ themselves in a way that's totally different than what we're accustomed to in the job market. So I want to ask you guys how you relate your Nikken experience as an entrepreneur with the gig economy. How do you see the fit for you? And again, I just want to define this for everybody. What is the gig economy? Essentially, it's a way for us to employ ourselves, kind of a turn on, turn off switch. You can do this randomly at will. And that's what's so appealing about it for many people, is that they're looking for alternate sources of income, but they don't want to have to make the commitment ordinarily reserved for a job or a business or some other form of a career. They need the income, but they need it to be flexible enough that they can plug in, plug out as needed. And that's really what's happening, that's causing these incredible increases in business and entrepreneurship through things like Airbnb and Uber and many other forms. So let's start with you, Barbara. How does this fit? I mean, as a healthcare practitioner, you've probably had a bunch of gigs in your life anyway.
Yeah, but this one's different. So as a healthcare practitioner, I rented office space. I traveled and commuted to work. I had to maintain a beautiful place, shovel, vacuum, and I had to continually be finding customers or clients. And truthfully, I adored that for 15, 20 years. And then I had this aha as a maturing woman that I had a job, that I had to show up and be present in order to earn my income. And that as I was maturing, I wanted more time, more freedom, more money, and I still wanted to make a difference in the world. And how was I going to do that? Which sounded like an oxymoron. Fortunately for me, I figured out what was going on and invited the universe to guide me, and was introduced to Nikken, which allows me to help people. I can do it from my home or anywhere in the world. It's a multiple sources of income stream, so that I'm much freer as I build community. That was also a really big piece for me, Michael. As a sole practitioner and sole proprietor, it was lovely having that independence, but it was just me. And what I adore about Nikken, multiple sources of income, adding benefit, I'm part of this amazing collaborative community of people, and that we're all committed to making a difference. We're all diverse, we're all unique, but we have this common cause and purpose, and the support is phenomenal. So it's really a win-win situation.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing is you love the idea of being autonomous,
yeah,
but you also love the idea of being in a community, collaborating with others. So, I mean, that's the perfect scenario for a gig economy, is that you're not on your own, but you're working in collaboration with others who are equally interested in what they're doing, but there's still a certain degree of autonomy within that, which allows for the flexibility, the self-governance, etc. That's amazing. Suzanne, what about you? How does the gig economy play into your life?
Well, it plays very well now. I have been building this business as a part-time thing for many years, and it's been an integral part of my life, but I've been in the corporate world for 29 years and just lost my job. Friday was my last day. And to be able to have, a way to create income, and to have that ready to go when I was taken off guard by this change in my employment, has been such a blessing. But when I think about the other people that are in the same boat as me, and other people in the world that, their jobs may not be, there is not a stable job out there if you're working for someone else. So to be able to have this as an option, and that you don't need any particular schooling or certification. You just need to have a big heart, and you need to listen, and you need to plug into a team that's there and ready to help you. And it's a totally different scenario than what I've been under, because it hasn't been about cooperation. It's been more about competition in the corporate world. You don't want to give away all your secrets because someone may take your position. Now it's totally different in this world, and I really love the cooperative and supportive nature that we all work under.
Well, let me just speak a little bit to the to the idea of this gig economy scenario. I mean, if we look at traditional gig economy type stuff, gig term comes from sort of the music band scenario. The guys would go out and play a gig on the weekend, and so that's where that terminology comes from. But when you think about it, most gigs are very short-lived. They're just a gig, and then you got to go find another gig. What makes a company like Uber so successful is that they created a turnkey scenario for people who are interested in being independent, autonomous, but plugged into a system whereby they don't have to be experts. They rely on the system that's been designed for them to just simply plug in and utilize whenever they decide. I mean, it's up to them to set their own schedule, but they're leveraging a system that's there for them whenever they decide to get in the car and start Ubering that night. And so the concept grew very, very quickly because of the ease with which people can engage it, particularly those drivers who are looking for an additional income. So what we want in our presentation, in our offer to be able to engage people with this as a business possibility, is to show them the simplicity and the ease with which they can get involved. That it's something they can integrate into an already very busy life. They can turn on and off as they need. And they have access to a system that's quite robust. We have all of our business online. If we generate our sales, for instance, online. If I have an interested customer, I don't actually have a product per se to sell them. I just simply go onto my iPhone app or the computer and place an order on our website, our personal web page. So that's already been designed for us. It's already in play. The moment you register as an Econ consultant, bang, you have the PWP. That's like having your Uber connection. You can just go out and start generating an income immediately. Mm-hmm. That's exciting. The other part, though, that makes this extremely exciting is the fact that with respect to Uber, they can only trade time for money. I mean, they can only generate an income so long as they're in a car and driving. And that's great. And that may be all somebody needs, is just that extra income whenever they need that extra income. But what if you're looking for more? What if you're looking for a way out of the rat race? In that regard, now you need to start doing another thing, which involves leveraging of another kind. And we've been talking about this idea of collaboration. By building an organization, by building a team of people who are as eager as you are to collaborate, to generate an income in this gig environment, you're able to create an income stream that's independent of you. You can't do that if you're an Uber driver unless you actually own the company Uber and everybody is Ubering for you. But in our case, we have the means to duplicate. We can help somebody engage and become a consultant with Niken as well, where they benefit as we do, the autonomy of all that this offers for us. However, because they're connected to our organization, we're now able to leverage their efforts and start compounding on another level, compounding time and therefore compounding income. And this is what's been responsible for me being able to earn the kind of income that is reserved for very, very high-level CEOs in a corporate environment. You'd have to climb quite a corporate ladder and be part of a huge organization to have earned the kind of income that I've had the luxury of earning, simply because I sort of dropped a pebble in the pond, and that ripple effect had others become engaged, and that had others become engaged, and so on. And now that ripple has gone across the globe. And here we are today, 25 years later for me, and that ripple continues to go and grow. While what's happened is this concept of the gig economy, this concept of self-care and wellness has become mainstream. So when I first got started, it was pushing a rope. I mean, we were talking to people who had no concept of health and wellness, who were totally hooked on a system of healthcare that they thought would be there for them. Only now they're discovering, oh, well, better look to the alternatives. And so the alternative has become mainstream. And so everything that we're doing is more relevant today than the 25 years ago when I first got started. Everything in terms of our technology, everything in terms of our business offer is more relevant today than it was 25 years ago. So the value of what we're sharing tonight is huge, huge. Let me switch gears for a second here and get into our last point, because one of the things that I love the most is what I'm doing right now. I'm collaborating. I'm connecting entrepreneurs. How many of you are on this phone is an entrepreneur? If I can just take a look. Okay, pretty much almost everybody here. Fantastic. Here we are. We're connected. We have our own business, but we're collaborating. And who knows, you might have heard something that I or any one of us have said that is a little nugget that you can take and run with and apply to your business and generate a more successful business. That's what I love about this business. I've learned so much from sharing. How about you, Suzanne?
Yes, no question about that. My mother was a teacher, and so I was brought up in an environment of learning. And that is one of the keys in this for me is I would have never been able to have the personal development that this business offers and be able to work together and meet the friends and the great friends and family that I now consider my family all these years later through this vehicle.
Barbara, how is building this, being a part of this community and building within this community your own business supportive of you as an entrepreneur?
I keep learning and growing. I feel like I was an educator in my private practice, and I still am an educator, yet now I feel like I also am a leader, and that I'm inspired by others and I inspire others. And the support and the collaboration, the learning and the growing, it's friendships, relationships, and partnerships in a different way than any other business employee or my private practice had given me. And it fills my heart and my soul, and it's the light within that wants to shine without and make a difference in the world.
I love what Rachel just commented on. If you saw that comment, she says it takes the risk out of it. Wow. I mean, let's look back. I was a graduate of aerospace engineering, went into the music business. That didn't work out. Ended up as an electrician, working 14 to 16-hour days, 6 days a week. What are the chances that I would become a very big and successful entrepreneur? I mean, really, that wasn't the trajectory of my life. I was going in the wrong direction. So to be able to hitch my wagon to a train that was moving in the direction that I would have rather my life going, and to then be supported through this collaborative effort to learn as I went along, gave me the ability to grow my business myself personally and emerge. If there's a leader within you that wants to shine, it will emerge in the right environment. And so this created an environment for me that made it possible for me to become my best self. And that's one of the most amazing things that you could ever offer another human being, whether they saw it as a business or not. Just the opportunity to belong to an organization that had a sense of purpose and direction that they could then plug into and start growing themselves personally and professionally. That's brilliant. By the way, just curious, how much did it cost you to pay for all this mentoring and coaching you guys have been getting?
Right.
Nothing.
Nothing. You tell me where you're going to get this quality of education anywhere in the world for nothing. Nowhere. Extraordinary. Well, I'll turn it back to you. Our time is up. And thank you for inviting me to be part of your call this evening.
Thank you, Michael. We certainly appreciate it. And I know everyone on the line here, I'm sure you've gotten some great nuggets. You know, we started out by talking about hoping that maybe we'll light a flame in you to share this with other people. And if this is your first time listening, I hope that something that's been shared has made a difference in your life, enough to go out and share that with other people. Plug them into our upcoming events. We have an event happening at 8 o'clock Eastern, right around the corner. Events happening all over. The Active Wellness Tour is coming at a place near you in the days to come. So, Barbara?
I'll just say that we're looking to do this again next week. It might be on a different link. We're not sure yet, but it's Tune In Tuesday. The collaborative with Suzanne and some other folks here from Maine and New Hampshire. And I always like when Suzanne was talking about the light, you know, going to camp and being a counselor, this little light of mine, and that all of us have that within us, and we can let it shine and we can change the world together. Just like Margaret Mead said, it only takes a small band of people to change the world. And I think we've got a great crew right here, and we're doing that right now as we speak. So I want to thank everybody for being here with us, and I think that's complete.
Take care.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
All right, good night.
Thank you. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye.